People want to start making fun of me eating.
See, that's why I was here last time when we did Shang-Chi, but I had my camera off because like I don't know if anybody cares if I'm eating or not, so I just leave my camera off. But I'm listening.
I don't. I personally don't mind, but if it's a comfort thing, you can turn your camera off, Trayvon.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah,
I just like for me, I don't know if it makes anybody who's watching uncomfortable. You're like, oh my god, what is? That's gross. So I just don't.
It's human. I mean, we're doing it around dinner time.
See, here's the thing. My brother, he hates the sound of specifically me chewing. Like anybody else, like my mom, my dad, he's cool. But when it comes to me, he'll either like just get up and leave or he'll get headphones and then sit back down so he can eat. And I'm like, do you know how uncomfortable this makes me feel? Like
Okay,
I can't help the sounds that come from my mouth.
So be honest, because I know a lot of people do this and they don't notice they're doing it. My sister does it, and it irks my soul. She'll have something crunchy, and it's like if it's in your mouth, I should know exactly what you're eating just off of hearing. So
Okay.
when you chew, do you chew with your mouth, like not on purpose, but
here's the
chew with
thing.
your mouth open?
I do not chew with my mouth open. I used to when I was younger, but I don't anymore because that is rude and gross. But my mom says that both me and my dad have like echo chambers for mouths because like you could just hear everything. I don't know how, like I don't know if I have like thin jaws or I don't know, but like you just hear like everything. So I guess that's probably a contributing factor to it.
Well, now I've made it my goal. Now I have to when I see you at New York Comic Con.
Oh gosh. just hand me a bag of chips. Like I need
just
to
like
see.
Eat these. And it's like, why are you just staring at me? I want to hear it. Eat it.
I'll take the bag and like crunch it up so I could just like just drink the chip.
You know, my dad raised me to where hearing people chew, it irked him. And then I think I kind of just took it on myself. But I really honestly don't have a problem with it. It's the people that make noises when they eat. Like like when you drink something, I don't need to I don't need to be a part of any of that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I don't necessarily have a problem with the sounds that people make while they eat. But if you just like don't close your mouth while you eat, or you're like, I'm like, bro, you're making extra mouth movements to do that.
Yeah,
Stop it.
I mean, if I'm eating with people, I don't really need to hear how much you're enjoying the food. You know what I'm saying? Like that puts me completely out of it. I don't want to eat anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm trying to enjoy my meal and and it's just like, all right, you got it enough. You have to leave. You have to go. You have to go, or I have to go. One of the two. It's just very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. What's going on, Tia?
It's funny you say that. I had a friend who was like that because like she had made some like dietary changes a few years prior. Mm-hmm. And she was like trying to convince us that like her dietary changes were good. So it's like we'd all be eating like these really awesome meals and she would have like something that wasn't very appealing and she'd be like, it's so good. And it's like, that's not good. That's boring as fuck.
Yeah, that's people like that to me. I swear we're part of like the Salem witch trials. Like, you're not like, why do I have to know how much you're enjoying this? That's always been my issue. If I can hear it, it's too much. You know what I'm saying? It's like people that wear headphones that blast the music so you could hear it. It's like, dude, the whole purpose is so no one else hears it but you.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of the food in your mouth is so you yourself can enjoy it. So if you're making noises, you're now bringing me into this activity that I want no parts in. Close it, savor it. You could do the whole eye closing thing. You could do that. That makes me uncomfortable. But you could even do that. But the noises,
I've never eaten like, and I feel like I've eaten really good stuff throughout my life. Not once have I eaten something that literally made me go,
I mean,
So-
I've had something before that I said, "Oh my god," like that's
Yeah.
fun. But
So like when you
but-
watch food shows, do you mind when they're like, oh, like this is so good, like this is great? Like, do you feel like that's like too much and you don't want to be a part of that either? Or
Wait,
you're
I have
okay
a-
with it?
I
Can I-
accept it on a food show because it's like that's their purpose is to let the person know like exactly how good it is or if it's horrible. But if like I'm just with friends and we're out eating and it's just like, why are you making all this noise? Like people are staring now because you're moaning while you're eating. Like it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. Weird.
Well, there's a YouTuber. I'm not going to say his name, but there's a YouTuber who eats, right? And it's like I like watching it because he goes to like all these amazing different countries and like tries their cuisine. But every time he tries something, he does this. He goes, oh, and it's like it just seems as if like it's manufactured, and
Yep.
that's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, I agree. That's also when I see people turning carrots into bacon, and it's good. And I have a problem with that. I have
You're
a
like, oh
problem
my
with
god,
that.
it's so.
I don't think I've
good."
ever seen that.
I've-
Carrots
I have.
into bacon.
I have shaving
I've
bacon.
seen that, and I've seen like when they offer coconut
Not bacon.
like bacon strips, and I'm like, and it's
Hmm.
like
No.
if you can't eat pork or you choose to not eat meat, it's like I totally respect that.
Right.
But like, don't say that's bacon. Don't put it on the same level as bacon because it's not.
Apparently
Hmm.
that's offensive.
This is an interesting episode to talk about food, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, eating. Yeah.
Dom, before we get into our breakdown of this episode of What If, you saw Shang-Chi?
Yeah, I did. Saw it on Saturday.
Hey, how'd you like it?
I enjoyed it. The second act was a little slow. I may or may not have dozed off just a little bit.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a
Oh.
minute.
Yeah, I mean, granted, look, like I was tired already. I had
Okay.
Thursday and Friday between the two. I had probably about 8 hours of sleep between the 2 days. I was so tired.
Mm.
We had a baseball game earlier in the day. But I mean, some parts in the middle were just, I get it, I appreciate it, but just that day, that's not what I needed in that moment. I was just like, yo, it's a little slow. It's a little slow, but no, the action was phenomenal. Like, it was so good. Like, it wasn't, okay, for Marvel, it was John Wick level, right?
Mhm.
John Wick has more of a slow, progressive way you can kind of see every move, but that's for the sake of like this arm is about to snap, this face is about to get broken. So, and of course, Marvel's not going to go that far, but the way that they did it looks so authentic and it looks so good. And I was really surprised to, spoiler alert, but the little towards the end, I don't want to give away too much, people, but once they came out the water, I was like, I didn't expect to see that. I was very surprised. So, no, yeah, the whole family enjoyed it.
All right. Seems like
Awesome.
you took your rough work week out on Shang-Chi a little
Well,
love
I
it.
was gonna say, not for nothing, Dom like watches movies in his sleep. Like the man, like I don't know how he has any time to eat, be with his wife, hang out with his kid. It's like he's just watching things constantly
I
to review
try
because
to
he's a
make
hardworking
them-
man.
I try to make them watch it with me. That's how we do things. Hey, you want to watch this? Or you don't?
Your wife just like, for once, I'd like to watch like meaningless YouTube, and you're like, no, watch
for
like
sure.
4 movies in a row with me.
For sure. She definitely doesn't enjoy like, oh, we're about to watch the movie. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you reviewing it? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, well, I guess I won't talk. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Oh.
Oh man, Jawan, you see what Dom goes through for GBN?
I see. Oh man. What was I gonna say? Prime, how you doing, Prime?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Good. We were just before we started, I wanted to wait till you got here. We're not doing a whole review or anything, but I'm just curious. I just asked Dom. Did you enjoy Shang-Chi?
I did. Very good movie. Didn't go into it with, super crazy expectations. But I thought it was really good. I liked the story. They did a great job with the theatrics. The action scenes were great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I did. I saw
Yeah.
it Saturday. I saw this Saturday afternoon.
Dom saw it Saturday too. Saturday was the magic day, apparently.
Yep.
No, so let's get into what if. This was episode 5, I believe. And we got some Marvel zombies. Tia messaged me a few hours ago asking me my thoughts on this. It seemed as if I had missed an episode. Like this was something was connected to it, and I had missed it. It had started as if we knew what was going on. And I don't know, it just felt so incomplete. I guess I don't really need it, but just to see where Janet got it from, I think would have been crucial to this episode. Now, if this episode continues and we get more from this world of Marvel's zombies, then sure. But even how it ended was just like, were you rushing to get somewhere? Like this next episode, I guess, is a big one because they were just like, leave everything on the kitchen room floor. Let's just get out of this episode, get to the next one. It just nothing really captured me from this whatsoever. I guess just seeing an alternate world of how Infinity War turns out was interesting. Like the premise of that was interesting. But I don't know. It didn't, I don't know. Maybe I was looking for something else. Maybe I don't know what that is. But it really did nothing for me. Once I got to the end, I was just like, I was watching a lot of people's reviews and they were like, that's it. I was just like, that's it. Yes. Next week, let's get me to next week. But Prime, I'll start off with you. What were your thoughts on this week's episode of What If?
I loved it. It was something different. It was, of course, I mention it every week. I like funny stuff. It was very comical. It's just, just gave us something like we hadn't gotten before. To me, Okoye was the star of the episode. To me, some of the stuff she was saying, like I thought you were the Uber driver, and the kids got sanitizer, whatever. She was great. She was great. I just love the way they played it all the way around. We got to see some of the quick shots of we got Wanda involved. For a minute, I was like, man, are we about to get a zombie Vision? But then we come to find out that couldn't happen. They couldn't turn him into a zombie. But I loved it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I'm surprised that you didn't like it. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It was my favorite of the 5.
Okay. Look, I respect that. I mean, like I said, it just for me, it just felt incomplete how it started. And I guess for me, really, I want to see more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, like, I want to know, because we know at some point Thor with the Guardians comes back to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what happens when they come back? Are they going to fight Thanos? Now, Thanos is the most intriguing part because Thanos, without being a zombie, wanted to eradicate half of everything. Thanos now being a zombie, your goal isn't to eradicate, it's to duplicate.
True.
So I assume now you use the stones just to create more zombies. So now you're going in reverse of what your actual goal was. You're now trying to bring in more people rather than get rid of people. So I mean, it was interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jamie.
Do you think Thanos could actually still use the Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah.
I was kind of confused as to, because I felt like some of the zombies were acting with much more intelligence than I guess typical zombies that we've seen previously. Like Ant-Man was still able to shrink, and Captain America still fought like a badass, and I'm like, that would be terrifying. I would hate to have these kind of zombies in real life because I'd for sure be dead if they were still able to function that well.
Yeah, I think the way these zombies work is you're still you. You're just dead. you're the undead, really. But yeah, they showed you the last scene of Thanos essentially using it to light up the gems. That he still has the capacity to be able to use it, so they don't lose their intelligence, like we know most zombies do.
Yeah, I was, you didn't love the part with, I think was it Happy they had the I'm not single, I'm just saving myself for Thor shirt on. Dude, that was comical. Like that almost had me in tears. I was laughing so hard, man.
I can't lie, it had some really, really, really good comedy. But like I said, just story wise, it just kind of was just like, you kind of feel like, all right, I'm kind of with you. Where are we going? And then all of a sudden it's just like, nope. Like, this is it. Plateaued, done. You don't need any more information. That's it. Go away next week.
So you don't think the way it ended, you don't think that it's possible this could tie into something?
I hope it does. Because again, like I said, to me, it felt incomplete. So I really hope there's more story to tell of this. I mean, because for goodness sake, they have for their Marvel Legends toy line, Spider-Man with the cape, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like I kind of thought Spider-Man was going to mean more in this episode. I didn't know there were other Avengers.
Right.
I literally thought it was just Spider-Man, and he has to navigate through all these Avengers. So a lot of it was just kind of just like, oh, okay. And I do like how it was just all sidekicks outside of Spider-Man. It was literally just everybody's sidekicks. So I thought that was pretty cool. But again, like I said, seeing an alternate twist of essentially the beginning of Infinity War, very interesting. Jamie, I'll pass it to you next. What were your thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was all right. I feel like kind of similar to you, Jawan. I feel like just when we were starting to get somewhere, the episode ended, and I was like, huh?
Where's the love, man? Where's the love?
It's not that I
don't worry, I'll be giving it love prime. No worries.
I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. The momentum just was not there for me, and it could be because I had just gotten done with class, so I was already kind of tired. But I don't know. But I do feel like it had some really cool moments, and being able to see Peter he wasn't exactly the leader, but he was definitely I guess like the ray of hope that kind of helped everybody kind of stay together and not just fall apart and lose sight of everything, I guess. I also thought it was interesting that like they kind of like kept losing people along the way, and seeing T'Challa at the end, I was definitely not expecting that. That was like, I was like, whoa, like, oh wow. And I didn't know that like Vision was, I don't know, that was interesting to see Vision, like he was willing to sacrifice T'Challa to keep Wanda alive. And I honestly want to see like what Wanda could have done if she had really like unleashed her, not, I don't know if it's her full power or just like kind of wild power, because she's not completely herself. So like a whole bunch of things could go astray there. I would have been curious to see like how that would have worked out. And then to see that like Thanos got too, like what? Thanos, how did you let that happen, dude? So I was curious to see what was going to happen with Thanos at the end as well. But yeah, it was like the end of the episode is really what intrigued me the most. And I was like, okay, this is starting to get like really interesting. And then like it stops like right after that. I'm like, dang it. Not that I thought that the beginning wasn't interesting. It was just like kind of like setting up the premise, I do kind of see what you were saying, Joanne, where you feel like it could have it started like kind of abruptly. I wasn't bothered by it too much, but it would have been nice to see a little bit more of that background with like what happened to Jane. But yeah, overall, I think it was a pretty solid episode. Not my favorite, but it's I've been like kind of I haven't enjoyed as many of the recent episodes as I would have liked, and this one is definitely hitting above average for me, at least. So
yeah, I mean, again, I don't think it was a bad episode. I don't think I've said that. If I have, I apologize. I don't think it was a bad episode. It just didn't strike me as much as I know it struck a lot of other people. I mean, I'm even rewatching it now, and one of the inconsistencies is, you see, what's her name, Wasp, use the ants to eat the zombies and essentially like beat them, and then you see her get in a position where she's swarmed by zombies, and she doesn't think to try to use the ants again. It's just like I don't know. To me, it's just small things like that. To where it's
maybe
just,
they were full, Joanne.
I guess so. I guess she managed to use all billion of the ants around the world in that one moment. But no, I mean, like I said, wasn't a bad episode. I think if anything, the humor is what carried it for me. Peter's guide on how to survive the apocalypse. It's awesome. It's just Peter Parker. And I do love the name that they gave Sharon Carter. As you guys know, it's not my favorite character, but calling her the Blonde Bond is awesome. I really dug that a lot.
Yeah, I really like that she was in the episode. I was kind of surprised, like, oh, look, Sharon getting some love. That's great.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? And yeah, also hearing Peter Parker talk about his parents was interesting. And Uncle Ben. He just hasn't in the MCU. So that was really interesting. You know, at some point it would be nice for him to mention Uncle Ben. You know, like there was some love there. He just continues to go on about, man, Stark. And then you get Aunt May, who's just dating. It's just like, do none of you care about Uncle Ben?
Well, we don't know how long it's been since Uncle Ben died. I mean, Peter could have been a kid when Uncle Ben died. You know, Aunt May's entitled to a life after, you know.
100%. I'm just saying no.
Till death do us part, man.
Wow, Tia.
Oh, God.
Wow, okay.
Just sorry, I'm just trying to be snarky.
Past that. Wow. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna pass it to you then, Tia. Let you continue that.
No, I don't want to continue that. I feel like I dug a hole for myself.
No. You said it. But no, your thoughts on this episode, Tia?
I mean, I just want to echo Prime. I actually really loved this episode. I approach these what if episodes because they're supposed to be singular, contained, and to me it's okay if maybe there's some plot holes, and maybe it does feel that sometimes they're rushing because it's like it's just meant to be a funny little what if, as if like you're sitting in your living room going like, what if the Avengers are like overrun by zombies? What? You know, and it's like you making it up your own would be like very plot hole-ish. But I like that it started with Bruce landing to Earth, and there being zombies and everything everywhere. To me, the explanation was fine. Just, you know, a simple Janet brought back a virus from the quantum realm. I'm like, cool, that's all I need. So I like that. Whatchamacalls it. It was interesting with the zombies that, like with the Avengers, they were still able to use their powers. I mean, that was super interesting. Not that I'm like a zombie aficionado, but I feel like I've seen quite a bit of zombie stuff, and we've never really seen that before, except for like, you know, iZombie and Warm Bodies, but I feel like they're kind of different than most zombie stuff. I joked with Joanne and I was like, see, Hawkeye just continues to disappoint me because he killed Happy. I don't appreciate that, man. I like the little nod to Zombieland with Peter doing his little, you know, like the fact that he keeps his positivity. And I really loved that scene between him and Hope where he's trying to tell her, like, you're Hope, you're supposed to last. And she's like, no, Peter, like, you're the heart of it. You're always so upbeat. And we need that. And I was like, I love that. I will say when you had Bruce going, Hope, I think you're in trouble. And you see the scratch and I'm like, oh God, it's getting like Walking Dead up in here. You know, there was so many like terrifying scenes. I thought that they set up these certain things like really well. I love the interaction between Bucky and Steve. There was so many like callbacks, you know, Bucky going, I guess this was the end of the line. T'Challa telling Peter, you know, in my culture, you know, death isn't the end. I mean, I love the little callbacks to the regular MCU.
And Spider-Man with the train.
Yeah, Spider-Man with the train, yes.
Mm.
I was very shocked to see Vision was holding Wanda. I'm like, this couple really is a ride or die type of couple, man. Like, they're like, I am willing to risk the entire universe for each other. And that's just true love.
Didn't try it.
Ladies and guys, find yourself a partner.
Find you a Vision. Or a Wanda.
Man.
That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt.
That's a t-shirt. Yeah, find yourself. And I mean, it shocked me how many of them did die. Just like episode 3, I was continuously shocked by the fact that the show was willing to sacrifice so many people. That definitely surprised me. Even, losing Bruce and losing Hope, losing Sharon, losing, freaking practically everyone. I will admit that the Scott Lang thing kind of took me back. I felt like that was very like Futurama-ish. I was like, okay, this is a little far-fetched, but whatever. I'm here for the ride. The Russian dude, the Baba Yaga, another callback. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I loved Okoye's sacrifice. That was super depressing, but again, she goes out like a badass, so we have to respect that. I don't know, it was just fun to me. I will admit, at the end I was a little confused, just because when the Watcher was going, he's willing to save the planet even if that means destroying the universe. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? So I will admit that one thing was like, oh, okay, very stark there, but besides that, as a whole, I really enjoyed this episode. It was fun. It was nothing I ever thought I'd see. Avengers versus zombies. And to me, again, I enjoyed it for what it was.
Word up. Finally.
I will say there's really not like an episode of this show that I have truly disliked. I wasn't the biggest fan of last week's episode. Again, I can't say that I hated it. Just wasn't, say, the biggest fan, but in general, this series has just really been enjoyable for me. Even the sad parts have been really enjoyable for me.
I mean, I think that was the biggest thing for me, is each week so far has had a modicum of consistency. It's had a great story, solid action, pleasing ending. I think this is probably the only ending so far that was just like, what? Like, you're not a to be continued kind of show. So to leave it off like that is just like, I don't understand. Unless maybe Peter is what survives of this universe, and they pluck Peter to make him part of this ragtag Avengers team that they're putting together. That's what I assume is the one thread of each of these episodes, is that each person will be plucked from their respective universes to assemble an Avengers team. If that's the case, great. If that's not the case, I don't understand. I just don't understand. And no, I think the reason why I needed some kind of information was, if this zombie invasion started in New York or Alaska or whatever, cool, makes sense how all zombie movies go. I've never seen a zombie movie where a zombie attack starts in a realm that people should not exist in. And it's just like, well, where did Janet got stuck there? She didn't try to travel.
Sean,
it's like, where did the zombie come from?
Have you watched The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
It's been 11 seasons and we still haven't gotten a definitive start of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
No medium that explores zombies hardly ever explores the beginning. It is one of the most frustrating things, but Marvel is just continuing the frustrating continuity of not explaining why zombies are zombies.
The good stuff does. I believe 28 weeks or 28 days, whichever one that was, that gave us one. World War II gave us one. 40 days of Nights gave us one. So they do, but I've also stopped watching The Walking Dead, I don't know, like 6 years ago.
The Walking Dead kind of did, but it did it through Fear the Walking Dead, because Fear the Walking Dead started at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse in like California.
Right.
I can't remember exactly how it started, but that showed you like
essentially. I mean, it was essentially just like an outbreak.
Yeah.
But that's why I said if in this it started in like Earth, makes sense. Cool, just an outbreak. But in a quantum realm,
well, shit's crazy in the quantum realm.
But no, I'm saying they've expressed that people can't exist in there. It's why Janet was such a rarity, and it's why she came out with like powers and shit. So
well, maybe
that a zombie was in there is where.
Well, maybe it's supposed to be where, you know how like when you have something in your body that's not supposed to be there, your antibodies do what they can to repel it out. So Janet wasn't supposed to be there. So the quantum realm was trying to do everything it could to repel her out, making her sound, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something.
Look, what you're saying makes more sense than getting nothing. So I'll take what you're saying. I'll take that. Sure. For sure. No, I'm watching right now where Janet sacrifices herself and calls on no ants. But anyway, I'm gonna pass it to you. I'm gonna die. And it's just like, but why? But Dom, I'm gonna pass it to you. What were your thoughts on this episode?
I'm gonna start towards like the end. I did enjoy the ending because it kind of showed that Thanos in Wakanda is a fixed point in time, an absolute point, what have you. Oh.
Thumbs up the video, guys.
Smash that like button.
I'm with Prime though. I thought this was my favorite episode. I loved all the comedy. I'm a big zombie fan, so I love all the zombiness. Now we do, in the zombie sphere, whether it's books and whatnot, as people are continuing to create zombies, we do get more zombies who are able to evolve and speak and communicate different ways and able to have their ability. So I would assume that's why, since these are Earth's mightiest heroes, that they're not going to lose as much cognition as everybody else. But no, the only part I probably didn't care for, that didn't really make any sense, I guess I'll say, was the part of the train. It was just kind of like, where did Cap come from? Out of nowhere, he just shows up and it's like, are you tracking them? Did you know that? I mean, I don't know. That's what kind of threw me out. It didn't make any sense. But we did get to see what we all wanted to see the PIM particles used for, shrinking into somebody and blowing them the hell up. I was like, yes, finally. That's what we should have done a long time ago.
There's no entrance through the butt, though.
That's true.
Somebody was going to say that. I knew that was coming.
They're still staying away from that. They refuse to go up anybody's butt.
But they did, right? They did zoom in really close, like we didn't know someone's flying to a mouth. And I was like, okay, they can't give us a butt, but they'll give us a mouth.
Somebody's got to give us that butt. Simpsons, Family Guy, somebody's got to give us that butt. Somebody. It's got to go right up the chute.
But no, I thought it was a fun episode. Like Tia said, I noticed the Futurama reference with Scott in the little jar. I was trying to figure out, and this is thinking a lot into it. So it comes from the quantum realm. It was affecting the brain in a certain way, but if it affects the brain to where the Mind Stone can fix it, why does a bite turn you into a zombie? That's neither here nor there. So there is a lot of things if you think too much into it, like we all do. Some things are gonna crumble apart. But for what it was, for being like this, funny segment in this universe, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm trying to think my favorite part. Oh, and it is funny that Danai playing, Okoye was in The Walking Dead. So they're like, we got to make sure she's here because she has the experience.
Yeah.
I did kind of want to see her decapitate Falcon though. And we didn't get to see that.
Oh yeah, Juwan. This should be your favorite episode.
I thought about you
Indeed.
When Falcon died.
I thought
Bucky's
of Juwan.
like, I should be sad, but I'm not.
Yeah, I was hoping
that was Juwan.
I was hoping with that happening, this would become a fixed point.
I am
chooses, I guess, though.
I am curious as to because the ending I can kind of assume what it's going to lead to, but I'm curious to see what would happen with Wanda and Hulk being left behind, because Hulk is essentially, impenetrable, indestructible, but Wanda's Wanda. So what happens from there? Because if Wanda does what Wanda does, she's going to eventually meet back up in Wakanda as well. And maybe that's always supposed to happen too. So yeah, there is a lot of questions. I'm gonna try not to overthink it a little bit, but I enjoyed it.
I do want to say, I think we as reviewers and fans chalk up too much to like, oh, it didn't really need to make any sense. And it's like, no, it does. It should, everything should always.
Well,
go ahead.
If it's something like a show of continuity, such as WandaVision or Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, I would agree with that. But for this just being like singular, what ifs, I give it a little bit more leniency. But that's just me personally.
They're like, what if it didn't make sense? Like, oh, okay.
Like, what if it didn't make sense?
I think this would be that episode. But no, I mean, to me, I don't know yet that there is no continuity. So I mean, once we get to episode 9 and we've seen the full series of season 1 in its totality, then I can look back and go, okay. But I mean, like I said, I've seen shows of continuity that have episodes that don't make sense, and I'm like, why? Why? I always go back to episode 2 of season 2 of The Mandalorian. Why does that episode exist? Why not just take an episode off rather than wait?
Spider episode?
Yeah, the aliens episode. Yeah. It's a waste of an episode. It makes no sense. It doesn't even belong there. But no, I mean, like you were saying, Dom, the Thanos thing we can somewhat assume. That's not more so my issue. My issue more so is the Hulk is shown that you can't just bite the Hulk and turn him into a zombie. So I assume he survives. It's just one of those things where it's like, if the ending was more so everybody turned into a zombie and that was the ending, cool, no problem. Nice little bow. Let's move on. But to show that some survived and then Thanos was waiting for them, yeah, I think a natural, curious mind wants to know what comes after that. The way Doctor Strange kind of left off, that was it. He did what he wasn't supposed to do, lost everything. Nice bow, done. If they never revisit that again, to me that was a satisfying ending that had a beginning, middle, and end. This was one of those that was kind of scattered to where it's like, I think if you had more to explore with this, it would have the beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. That I think each episode did. Peggy's episode did. Now I'm forgetting episodes. Episode 2 was
T'Challa's.
That had a beginning, middle, and end. What was episode 3?
What if all the Avengers died?
Avengers.
I feel like the only one that had a end is the Doctor Strange one. And all the rest of them kind of leave it open.
Yeah, they all have open-ended for possibilities.
Only Doctor Strange one.
It leaves the door open for more storytelling. But I mean, this was legit when the Black Panther episode ended, it ended really with them celebrating. The only question was Peter and Ego. Mm-hmm. But I don't count that as part of the actual Black Panther story. That was more so kind of like an end credit scene to me. So the Black Panther story of T'Challa, that did have a beginning, middle, and end.
Well, I still don't know who's going to be Black Panther. But
for sure. For sure. If that's a question you have, for sure. That is something to see. But yeah, there was just too many questions for me from this.
I will say, to your point, it did. I know it's the shorter episode, but I did have a little beef with Bruce feeling like I'm the last one left, and then within a couple minutes, like he gets saved, and I was like, I wanted him to like revel and like sit in this moment of like, oh shit, I'm the last one. What do? I have to get the Hulk out. I wanted some more of that build, but with the truncated time, I guess we couldn't get that.
I will say that I kind of wanted to see Zombie Hulk. there's something about I wanted to kind of see Zombie Hulk.
That would have been fire. Yep.
It's like I understand them showing that to be like, wow, this is how like indestructible the Hulk is. I guess they couldn't do it. I guess they couldn't do it in 2 episodes because they killed him in, episode 3. But it would have kind of been cool to see a zombie Hulk. But that's just minor details.
I kind of wonder where the other Hulk is because he came from a different universe, I think, or a different realm or whatever.
What do you mean? I wonder. The episode?
In this episode, because they're saying like he was supposed to go back to his, I think he got put in the wrong universe, or he's in the
it was something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines.
This episode, because I thought this was taking place after Thanos blew up the ship and Heimdall sent Hulk back to Earth. Is that what you're referring to when he was coming down that Rainbow Bridge in land?
Yeah, but the Watcher said like in his universe, like he would come back and land in like the Sanctorum and talk to Doctor Strange and all that. Like we know that story, but in this story, he ends up going somewhere else. So that would mean that there's possibly another Hulk somewhere in the universe that
like that.
Yeah. Hold on, let me restart it and hear that, because I thought what he was saying was in the universe we know he lands in obviously Strange and everybody's there, but in this one he lands.
Could have been that.
Could have been that too.
No, you could be right. I just
remember hearing something like that, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
I did like Banner going, "You guys are screwed" at the beginning of this episode. Again, another reference and everything. So it's like, and then when he's like, "Ooh, wait, that's kind of overkill." It's like, who would ever think that you just see Tony turn around and it's like zombie Tony? It's like,
I kind of want to know how he became a zombie. Like if he had the suit on, what? Like something slipped through the cracks or something? I don't know.
Maybe they ripped it off because it's not like his suit's made out of like vibranium or anything. I mean. That's always like the plot hole with zombies. It's like they're supposed to be decaying, but they're like strong enough to rip someone in half. Their jaws are literally hanging off, but somehow they can like rip through human flesh. It just
anybody else think it was pretty cool to see Wasp though actually go giant?
Yeah. You know what's funny though? When she was like collapsing, I was like, can you shrink though? Because now
I know. I thought that too. I'm like, you're gonna screw everybody over if you die like this.
I know. Shrink, damn it, shrink.
Yeah. I just listened to it, Jamie. He said he landed in a world he didn't recognize. So I get where that is confusing, but I think he meant more so he knew what Earth was before going to Sakaar, and now he's coming home to a world completely different than the one he left. Not literally a different world. Just essentially, when I left, it was Ultron. Now there's zombies. Like, yeah, it's a completely different, it's a different atmosphere than what I left. But let's read some of these comments before I pass to you, Trayvon. Let's see. Mr. E says he had a love-hate relationship with the episode. Animation is still decent, voice acting too, and as expected, the characters become stupid in these zombie stories for the sake of the plot. I can say that usually happens. Characters become stupid for the plot. All in all, he gives it a 7 or 8 out of 10, maybe a 9. That's high.
That is pretty high.
That's high. He's grading like AJ grades. Why hasn't Ant-Man used his army of ants in non-Ant-Man movies? I don't know. I don't know. But I will say part of that lends to the fact that Hank Pym is an Ant-Man. Scott Lang is. And Scott Lang, I don't believe, is as advanced with ants as Hank Pym is. Let's see. Kirkman jokes that it was aliens that started the plague. Just Your Average Joe, shout out to Joe. He said Walking Dead creator hinted it came from space. Oh, well, that's not.
Isn't that like the same plot as A Quiet Place?
It came from space? Yeah, I think The Quiet Place was from space. I don't know. I spent a lot of that movie thinking that there was no sound. So I don't remember a lot of the actual story of that.
Juwan's like, wow, it was really quiet.
Yeah, I thought it lived up to his name. I was like, oh, well, it's quiet in here. Wanda kills Hulk, basically. She almost killed Thanos, so it's possible it'd still be a cool fight. I think what's a little bit different is, again, Hulk is kind of written the same way as Superman. Because you could find any comics where the angrier Hulk gets, the stronger Hulk gets. So I mean, you can kind of equate that however you want. I'll just say this: Wanda here is nowhere near as strong as Wanda now. So Hulk probably would have a better chance killing this Wanda than he would even the Endgame Wanda. Where, like you said, she almost killed Thanos. Let's see, we got a few more. 30-minute kids cartoons must be scrutinized to death. All in the game. But here's the thing: it's not a show meant for children. If it was if it's Teen Titans Go, I'm not putting much thought into a show that's for 5-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
This is not that. This is not that at all. I mean, hell, they've said some of what we're seeing could be tied into the MCU. So it's it's not a bad thing to overthink things that could possibly blend into the actual MCU. I'm not saying anything from this episode will, but I'm also saying I don't know that it won't.
That's kind of like saying that you shouldn't criticize Invincible just because it's a cartoon. That show is definitely not made for children. You know, it's the medium doesn't make it belong to a specific audience or not. Like they've clearly said, I don't know if they clearly said, but clearly it's not like just supposed to be for kids because it's a cartoon. It just lets them do some things that they probably either couldn't afford to do in live action or is easier to do with animation.
Right. Like I get All in the Game's premise. If we were reviewing Adventure Time, then I would go, well, yeah, I probably shouldn't give as much thought to this as I am, right? Because it's meant for 5-year-olds. But a show of this nature, I mean, hell, we got a glimpse of Marvel Zombies in Spider-Man. Not this new one coming out, but the last one where Stark came out of the grave. So I'm like, I don't know if they'll take some elements of this and sprinkle it somewhere down the line. I don't know. I mean, hell, the character Nightmare could come out of nowhere in one of these movies, and maybe someone's subconscious, like their actual nightmare, is if the Avengers were zombies. So I'm just saying some thought is okay. Because again, it's meant for us, not really kids. But Trayvon, walk me through your thoughts on this episode.
Okay, so I actually like the beginning, and I kind of have no problem with the explanation. She's in the quantum realm, something foreign changes her. She comes out with it. They have no idea how to contain it. It takes over. I feel like it's fine. I do like that they kept. It's just a really good twist on Infinity War of Hulk still not coming out. They just got beat up by Thanos. Then you have them eating, I guess, the Black Order. I don't know their two names separately. But I was wondering, I was like, if they survived, maybe they got to Thanos and they changed him, maybe. Because they do get pretty close to him,
It's good.
That's true.
I like that.
And then, okay, so, I mean, Hope showing up is cool. And I do like how she used the ants. I do have a problem with her not using them again. If she can use them that way, why not again? Especially when they were out there with all of those zombies outside of that, whatever that place they were at. But I was like, yeah, you could definitely use it here. This is very useful right here. But plot holes. So let's see. Spider-Man. I mean, I feel like the Spider-Man scene with them pulling the train was purely for people to have seen Spider-Man 2. I feel like that's exactly what that was for. I feel like a lot of stuff in here was for us to just, I was like, oh, I remember that thing from this. They did a lot of that in here, which is cool and fine. I do, at the end of this episode, I was wondering, this has to continue, right? Like, you don't just do that, right? You don't just show us that and that's it, right? But I've been saying that since episode 1 when we saw her come through the portal thing, and we haven't seen her since. So I don't know. Just like T'Challa goes back home. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna find out who Black Panther is now. Is it Killmonger? No, nothing. All right, cool. I don't know. It just seems to be a lot of open ends that I hope tie together. And of course, I mean, I saw my girl, Captain Marvel. So we gotta can't just show up for 2 seconds. Can't just show up for 2 seconds and that's it. We just get a glow and that's it. I don't get no flight, no fighting. Come on, man. Like we need something. So I need something to tie this up. Let's see what else in this episode. I didn't understand why T'Challa was laying, like, was he feeding him like per body part? Or
I
feeding
think that's
Wanda
what he was doing.
Because I was like, well, if you're letting people to be slaughtered, why didn't you? I mean, this is a bad thing to say. Why don't you just throw T'Challa in there and let her eat him all together?
I guess because like I thought of it as even though he wants to feed Wanda, he still feels bad. So he's like, listen, I won't kill you all at once. You'll still have some time. I'm just gonna take, just like one leg at a time. Then one
at
arm,
that point, I'd be like, just freaking throw me in.
Just for real. Like,
I don't know.
Go ahead and do it.
Maybe he couldn't fully commit.
Vision.
Yeah, that was I was like, okay.
I
mean, definition of ride or die, I'll tell you that. Them two. Like
they're the Bonnie and Clyde of the MCU.
Man, like I don't know. I was like, man, he really doing all of this? Like, she's a zombie. It's done. Like, you serious right now? Like, blow her up. Okay, but all right. Like, she's not coming back, bro.
That's actually a really cool parallel. He was holding on to someone who's no longer alive with the idea of what she used to be. And in WandaVision, it was the whole premise of her holding on to someone who's no longer alive. Well, functioning.
But he did it willingly, though. Like, she did it not knowing what she could do. I'm saying, like, at the beginning, she didn't do that on purpose, technically. She didn't take the body.
No, but I think she created him on purpose. I don't think she held people against their will on purpose. Yeah. But I think she for sure created him on purpose. Because once she did, it was just like perfect.
I mean, once she did it and figured out what she could do, I think she was like, "Oh, I'm keeping this going." Oh, yeah, I definitely feel that way.
For sure.
But I just feel like he was willingly bringing people to, hey, look.
See, I don't know if it was. I think that's why he was cutting off T'Challa piece by piece. I think he was making the point of there just weren't really any people. He wasn't going to fly out there to go find more people. It was more so, it looks like the scene where it shows the Avengers landing and then getting swarmed by zombies. T'Challa is part of that.
Right,
so it looks like Vision probably grabbed him, held him there, and then just said, well, I'm not going to go get more stuff for Wanda to eat. You should be plenty. So I'm curious what would have happened once he finished T'Challa. And it's just like, oh, well, Wanda, that was it. Like, nothing else.
Can we talk about Hope? Like, can't they usually shrink other stuff with them, or can they only shrink themselves? I'm trying to remember.
No, they can use pen particles to shrink other things.
Why didn't she grab him? Like, she just, I'm out of here. Like, bye, Scott. Goodbye. Like, I was like, he just let him die.
Oh,
like, I was like, wow.
Oh no, you know what? To be fair, if I'm Hope, you have the exact same technology. It's one of those things, the running myth of when Black people see other Black people run, they just run. They don't even know what they're running.
This is correct. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, well, when she shrunk, why didn't he shrink? Why was he just kind of like, I don't know what's going on? It's like, I shrunk.
Because it's Scott Lang.
I guess that's
it's
true.
Scott Lang.
I can argue that to you. I do believe part of that does lend to his stupidity. But if I'm Hope, I don't feel bad. I shrunk. You shrink. When I shrink, you shrink. Just like
You
that.
know,
You know, what
in
did Luda say?
In the zombie
True.
apocalypse, it's, every
Yeah.
man and woman for themselves.
I tell you right now, if I start running and you guys are just watching me run, I will not feel even a shred of guilt if I look back and y'all are being devoured by zombies. Why wouldn't you just? I'm not running for no reason.
Yep.
Follow me.
It's like the people who like take out their cameras or like some disaster is happening. I'm like,
It's like, what
I
are you
really
doing?
can't feel bad for you. Like you see it, you're videotaping what's going on. Yet you
That's like,
not one
did you
thought in your
guys
head is like
see-
leave.
Did you guys see some of the videos of the recent flood that we had in New York and the subways? And people are just standing there as water's coming
Mhm.
in, and it's like,
Oh my god.
and it's like they're just standing still, and I'm like, oh, why aren't you running? Why aren't you running?
Yeah.
It's like, nope. I instead have to get it.
I did always think it would be not hilarious, but it would be somewhat comical if storms had a mind of their own. So where it's ripping through a house, and then it looks back and sees someone recording. So it backs up to grab them too. It's just like, oh, okay, all right, come here. But no, yeah, I'm just laughing that you brought that up, Trayvon, because I'm like, I don't feel sorry for Scott. She's strong.
I guess
You
that's
drink.
true.
It's as simple as that. You follow,
I guess
You
that's
follow.
yeah.
or you see what happens.
I guess that's true. I'm trying to think what else happened this episode that just threw me off. Well, I mean, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Wong gone at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's fine, whatever. Let's see.
I mean, poor Wong was beheaded and everything. I was like,
That
oh
was dope.
man.
Not the homie.
Who got sliced down the middle? Who was that?
Wong had a really big 2 weeks. That you're thinking Falcon that got sliced through.
I'm surprised you didn't bring
Oh,
that
yeah.
up. When I saw that, I thought of you. I was like, oh, I bet he's talking about that.
Raise your hand. Did we all think of Jawan in that moment?
Yep.
I was like, I bet he like
Until it
that.
happens in the MCU, Trayvon, I will speak nothing
Oh,
of it. I need to see
God.
a fixed point. An absolute
never
point
do that.
where it always happens everywhere. That's what I need. But no, Wong's had a big 2-week stretch.
Indeed.
Mhm.
I'm like, geez, I don't know who his agent is, but he was just like money.
It's
I like
Wong's world, and we're just living in it.
We
Yeah.
need a movie to you called Wong's World.
Wong's World.
Where it's the exact same as Wayne's World, but it's with Wong.
It's just with Wong.
It's just
I'm
with
down
Wong.
for
That's
it.
it. We need that.
I saw this thing on Tumblr that was funny, and I wanted to bring it up. Can we just all agree that Okoye is the queen of shade? Because Peter, when he's like, "Oh, you guys don't have horror movies in Wakanda," she's like, "No, we
Oh.
have American reality shows."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
she stays. She stays.
Proud of her.
Shading. I love
Yeah.
it.
Perfect.
Yeah, if someone could be murdered by clapbacks, Okoye.
Oh no,
Serial
she could murder someone just by her stare. Have you seen the gif of her when Bruce is collapsing in Infinity War? The look she gives him, it's just I don't know how he's still alive after that.
Yeah, I mean, if we learned anything from this, is that we need more Okoye.
Word.
Oh, hell yeah.
100.
Mhm.
Or Okoye.
Yes.
That's it. Not really anything else. Just Okoye. You don't want everybody else? No, just Okoye.
Wong and Okoye.
It's
That's it.
Okoye.
And
That's
Captain
Yeah.
Marvel. And Captain Marvel.
Such a Carol
Getting a
Danvers
whole
stain.
movie of her, Trayvon. Is that
when
not enough
Monica
for you?
when Monica starts flying, she can go to the wayside. But until Monica starts flying, it's Captain Marvel.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. So your only allegiance is her ability to fly.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I love it.
Wow.
Trayvon, you continue to surprise me.
I love flight. Okay, I think it's cool, especially when you're doing it just yourself. No.
So then, is it safe to say Captain Marvel is not a favorite of yours?
Yeah, she is. I like her. She's cool. But I'm waiting for Monica next. I'm excited for Monica.
Wow.
Let me have my thoughts. Okay.
I caught me off guard because you talk about Captain Marvel so much. I'm like, all right, cool. You're the character's biggest fan. So for you to be like, no, flight. Like if she couldn't fly, if she had to walk everywhere, but never think about it.
Yeah, probably not.
That's interesting.
I'll be honest. It's everything together. Just look. Just let me have it, okay? The headbutt, but Thanos tried to headbutt it too. That was really cool too. All right, yeah. But let's continue.
So when Wanda like started flying, were you like, yes, flight? I like her so much more now.
We'll see.
We'll see. She does fly.
Yeah, she does.
She flies right now.
Yeah,
The
we'll see.
Avengers fly, Trayvon.
Okay.
John's like, I don't even know where to go from there.
What about
I don't even know
Agatha?
how to process any of
What was your reaction to Agatha?
When she started flying?
Yeah, when she started
She
flying.
floated.
What?
John's like, there's a difference.
All right, we're gonna move on from that.
I know what's gonna happen, right? You know what's gonna happen.
What?
They're gonna have Monica's gonna start flying near the beginning of a movie.
Mhm.
He's gonna pass out and don't see the rest of the movie. It's gonna happen.
You're gonna fly in the first 3 seconds of that movie. Start.
Is it over?
Trayvon, what'd you think of the rest of the movie? And he's like, I don't know.
I'll tell you tomorrow when I see it again. I'll tell you tomorrow when I see it again.
Yeah. That's fun. That's funny you say that because that's what I always imagine. Like, you ever see videos of like Michael Jackson when he was on tour and people would just pass out in the crowd, and it's like, you paid all that money to pass out in the first.
Juwan, concert. I'm not trying to shade you or anything, but don't you fall asleep during movies in the movie theaters?
No, but
you're paying all that money.
The difference is I have the A-list. I don't pay for my specific ticket. I just pay for the month to go 3 times a week. So yeah, one of those is to have a really comfortable place to fall asleep. For sure. 100%.
What is happening?
Look, Trayvon, we're still stuck on your whole flight simulation thing.
I still look okay. I am a fan of her. Fine, whatever y'all was gonna say.
Nah, I can't take it right now. Nah,
whatever, all flying superheroes.
I feel like Trayvon had to backtrack because like he knows that Captain Marvel isn't a hugely popular character in the live action sense. So it's like it's okay. You don't have to justify.
I kind of feel like that's why I talk about it so much because I'm going against everybody's doing that. I guess that's why I do that.
Anyway, let's get to some of these comments. Scott Lang took down Yellow Jackets Corporation with those ants, so that explanation doesn't really work. I guess all in the game, I guess you're referring to when I said he's not as far along as Hank Pym. But again, I would remind you that Hank Pym literally taught Scott Lang everything that he did in that movie. So I don't know. Sure, if you want to go that route, sure. Invincible is rated R, adult cartoon that's nothing like this. Well, I this isn't for children. Is all we're trying to say. Is that this isn't made for just children. Mr. E says it was nice of Vision to kill himself. It's not like we could use the extra manpower. Even the most powerful person here, you would have been big help.
I did think about that. He was kind of like, I need to do this, and it's like,
I was kind of shocked. He was just like, ba-doom. Like, that's
He
it.
didn't tell nobody what he was going to do.
First of all,
no,
why couldn't he do that in Infinity War? He had to make Wanda go through all the trauma.
I was thinking about that too.
Him,
I think so. I was thinking back because I'm like, why did he do that if he could have just like pulled the thing out? I think it's because like they were trying to figure out a way for him to still be able to live. They just wanted to take the Mind Stone out. But because like, he didn't want to live when the zombie apocalypse without Wanda, he's like, okay, well, that's it. And just unplug.
What they want to destroy the stone in Infinity War.
They wanted to destroy the stone, but he wanted to find a way to like keep living.
But what makes no sense about his sacrifice is Wanda wasn't dead. She wasn't dead. So it's like, first of all, I think Vision in this universe forgot that his stone could be used as like a laser beam. So like he could have just murdered half the zombies there. That's one. 2, your sacrifice was for what? Because you could have just went with them. Because clearly we know zombies can't bite you, so you would have been a huge help.
True.
He essentially was just saying, "Look, I have no interest in continuing this journey. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get out here."
I mean,
if I can't have my baby, I don't want it.
It's kind of a logical decision, He was like, humanity is lost, so.
No, it wasn't humanity. Wanda is lost. I can't get her back. Good luck,
Screw
everybody
the
else.
humans.
Done with this life. Thanks.
It's like,
Yep.
hey guys, you remember all that time we spent together and everything, chilling? We saved the Earth from Ultron. Civil War happened. Yeah, I don't feel that close to any of you. It's just Wanda.
Yeah, apparently not. Banner, and
Especially not
Stark
T'Challa.
yeah, especially. Yeah, that was a little extra with T'Challa. It was just
Yeah.
you gonna die. Yeah, no, that was very selfish. Huge shout out to Mystery. That was very selfish. All right. Just your average Joe. Shout out. What's up, Joe? He said he loved this episode. Joe, I sent you the pop in, Joe. Pop in. No, I mean, All in the Game says not made for children. Millions of under 10-year-olds aren't watching this show. All in the Game, I think you're not really understanding what we're meaning by a show that's actually made for children and a show that's made with children in mind that they're watching it, but it's not a children's show.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're trying to say. That's the difference. Shrek is made for children. Like literally made for children. Even though I think you can make an argument that the humor is 100% made for adults.
Yeah. Which they do it on a lot of like kids stuff, so that way their
Right.
parents don't have to suffer
Yes.
to watch the
Alright.
movie.
I've never seen a kid
Teen
come
Titans
out
Go.
and just like recite dialogue from like a children's movie. They don't care about that. They don't know what they're saying.
No.
They like how he's green, he's a donkey. I'm set. The parents are more so just like, what did he just say? Like, what?
Shrek is my dad's favorite movie.
I went back and watched Shrek as an adult, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't think I understood any of this when I was younger. I didn't understand any of this.
It's still a great movie, man.
Mhm.
It holds.
It's still a great movie.
It holds.
Actually, yeah.
That's for sure.
Like big cuts and I cannot lie. Yeah.
That movie for sure holds.
Yeah,
Yes, I mean, look, so we have, I assume, a Thor oriented episode left. We have a obviously Stark with Killmonger episode left. I assume the Avengers team up, like this ragtag Avengers team up of I wanted to say Captain Britain, but it's not.
I think there's a.
Eggy.
Yeah.
I think there's a
Yeah,
Gamora
Captain Carter.
episode.
Wait, were you saying Dom?
I think there's a Gamora episode because I went and
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bought some pops and I saw like the daughter of Thanos. What if?
Yeah, I think it's a what if Gamora takes over for Thanos. Like he had planned for her to. There's also what if Vision was Ultron or took over for Ultron, something like that.
Oh.
So
That's
there's some
interesting.
good stuff left, like some really, really, really good stuff left that I can't wait for us to get to. I wonder if the Thor one is the unworthy Thor.
Where
Because
he's not able to pick up Mjolnir. What?
I love it. I love that.
Because I mispronounced it. I don't know how to freaking
No.
pronounce it. Mjolnir. Mjolnir.
I thought you were doing it on purpose.
You know,
Okay.
Mjolnir.
no, I only laugh because I swear when that first movie came out, no one could say that. It was just Mew Mew. It was Mew. No, but I am curious because I don't know if Thor 4 is gonna go that route. I kind of feel like you have to. If he's being stripped of the label of Thor, he
What do
has
you call him then?
he has to be unworthy or just make him the All-Father. At some point, he has to become the All-Father. I don't know why they haven't really veered that way yet. But yeah, I have no interest in having two Thors. None. No.
So when we were talking about the what is it? The new Thor movie that's supposed to be coming out,
Mhm.
where you were thinking he might become the All Father. If he does, I don't think that they would do that for a what if. So
I don't know. Like I said, they're saying that some of this stuff is connected. Maybe some of this stuff is like a hint to what's coming. I don't know. I know that they were told they can only work within the parameters of what exists in the MCU now. Not something that, they can't do Fantastic Four or X-Men or Galactus or anything like that. Apparently one of them wanted to use Luke Skywalker. Don't know for what, but he wanted it.
Yeah, I saw it.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Did you guys see that apparently there's reports that season 2 of What If will contain an episode based on Black Widow, the movie?
Wait, yes, it's supposed to be season 2.
Yeah, it's supposed to be season 2. So, I mean, I know we still have plenty of episodes left in this season, but that's interesting, that they're already thinking about season 2 and to even speculate like what even that episode would contain.
Yeah.
Joe says Thanos with the gauntlet for him made no sense. Did he already have the stones and then got infected, or was he still gathering the stones as a zombie with the stones? How did he get bit in the first place? He had the stones because remember, in that point in Infinity War, if he's in Wakanda, that means he has all but one. So it lines up literally with the end of Infinity War, where he's just waiting to get the Soul Stone from Vision. And I assume he maybe got bit. Maybe the Hank Pym zombie shrunk small and bit him. I don't know. Because look, it changes everything. Because remember, Stark is a zombie on Earth, so that means he never traveled to space with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. So who knows? Maybe Thanos makes. I don't know. Like I said, very confusing. There's threads here that weren't pulled, that were just kind of left dangling. I don't know. I did want to ask this question before we get out of here. My biggest question was, with Joe now mentioning the stones, they never answered, and if they did, you guys can definitely fill me in. They never answered how Thanos got his first stone.
No.
In the MCU, not in this episode. In the MCU, he gave Loki one of the stones.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Loki got the scepter.
Mm-hmm.
How did he get it? Now,
didn't they say that he went and destroyed that planet? Now I forget what it was.
You're thinking in Infinity War. That's when he defeated. That's when he destroyed the home of Nova. The Nova.
You're talking about Avengers, right?
Yes. Yeah. Someone said, and this could be kind of a loop where he gets tied off, that maybe the Celestials gifted Thanos that stone.
Wow.
And I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all.
The space one, right? Which one?
It's weird though, because there's a loophole. Thanos, they said in the trailer that their whole goal was to stop the deviants. Right. Thanos is part deviant. He has the deviant gene in him. So where do you cross the line of like, you're not full deviant, but it's like, but he still has the deviant gene in him. So I don't know, but I did like that idea. Someone had the idea that the Celestials gave Thanos a stone, and someone also had the idea that Uatu, the Watcher, and He Who Remains know each other. And it's the idea of they're both just sitting back, just going, this shit's crazy. I could get involved, but I'm not going to. So I would kind of like an episode where they're just sitting back eating popcorn and they're just like, this is crazy.
That's an interesting idea. Like, what if one of the episodes was maybe if the Watcher could intervene, or I don't know how he feels about the whole situation, just like a whole testimonial episode, just like, yeah, that was wild. I wasn't expecting that.
That's so crazy. I didn't Vision would pop the thing out of his head. That's crazy.
It's the Watcher and He Who Remains having like a podcast talking about it.
A couple of beers on the table, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be funny.
Welcome to another episode of How We Watch the Timelines Crumble.
In this week's
hey, can you see him ask the Watcher? He said, you smoke, man? He's like, nah, but teach his own.
He's like, nah, I don't do that, but you got any beer? Say, yeah, I got beer.
Match made in heaven, man.
Let's see what Joe's saying. Thanos got the Power Stone from where Nova Corps is. Can't remember the name. Then got the stone from the Tesseract. No. You're going backwards, Joe. The Tesseract was the first stone that he had in the Avengers movie. He had gifted it to Loki. The Power Stone is what you and Tia were talking about. That he just, which by the way, I will forever hate the Russo.
Wait. I thought they gave him. I thought he gave him the staff.
No. The Tesseract was the staff.
Staff.
Yeah.
Right.
It was in the staff. It was like
it was a stone. It was a stone that he gave to Loki, and Loki put
staff.
The staff.
Yeah.
Where are we losing you here, Trevon?
No, that's right.
No, time out. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking in Infinity War, Loki had the Tesseract in his hand, and Thanos crushed it and turned it into a stone, right?
No. That's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Avengers.
You talking about the Power Stone, right?
They had the Tesseract. Isn't that what he came to Earth to get? He had the staff. That's how he was changing them as soon as he got there. He was already making them.
The henchman for Thanos said, remember, we gave you this power in this army. Do your job. And the job was essentially to not only defeat the Avengers, but I assume for Loki to find the other stones.
and also he said that if you fail, there's nowhere in this universe that Thanos can't find you, which is why Loki definitely had the oh shit face on in Infinity War, because it's like, oh, he actually meant that.
But now that Trayvon says that, that is weird though, because Loki did have the physical Tesseract in Infinity War that he gave up to Thanos.
Yeah, because remember he grabs it at the end of Thor Ragnarok.
Oh,
remember
wait,
he was
no.
He was running.
No, hold on.
He had the staff and he came to Earth to get the Tesseract.
No.
And they took the Tesseract back to what's called after. Thor took it back to Asgard.
Oh, he's saying in the first Avengers he went and he saw that the Tesseract. Okay, go ahead.
This is what happened. It was always the Mind Stone. Remember that. It was always the Mind Stone. That
in the staff.
Right. That was the Mind Stone. You're right. Because I'm trying to think, because like the Tesseract is a square. And Thanos,
and that has the Space Stone in it. That had the Space Stone. In it.
Right. He had the Mind Stone, and he was coming there for the Tesseract. You're right. You're right.
And then the staff got left behind, and it was an Age of Ultron, and that's how they did the Vision. Okay, now we're on the same page.
But still, does not solve the question of where the hell did Thanos get this that stone from to be able to gift to Loki? I would like to know. I would like to know that. I would like for someone to ask Feige that, for him to either say "you'll find out soon" or "who cares." That was just a loophole that I just didn't come back to. Because that is interesting. If a Celestial gave Thanos a stone, that's huge. I would need to know that.
The other gave it to him. I'm reading something that says the other gave it to Loki. I don't know what the other is. The Chitauri.
Yeah, it was the henchman, but the henchman got it from Thanos. Gave it to him to give it to Loki. Loki at that moment had never come face to face with Thanos. I believe. I think it was always through. He had to go through him. You know, like Thanos was like, it's like the Debo.
I'm not doing that. Yeah.
He's like, you don't come to me. You go to him, and he comes to me.
You have to speak to HR.
Yeah, you go to HR. You don't come directly to me. I don't deal with it. Joe is saying, are you asking how was the scepter in Mind Stone were in the possession of Thanos in the first place? Yeah, well, the scepter was Loki's. The stone is what I want to know how Thanos had in the first place.
Yeah.
But all right, so that's all we got. I did want to ask Dom and Prime before we get out of here. This is our last one, and we get out of here. I do want to know what you guys think. And this is spoiler alert for anyone on this live who has not seen Shang-Chi. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen it, get out now. Give you a few seconds. Okay. All right. So, Prime, I'm going to start with you. What do you think that beacon was radiating from the rings? Who do you think that was alerting?
Somebody else asked me this question. I'll be honest with you. I have no earthly idea. Somebody, a buddy of mine asked me the same question, and I don't have a clue.
I was saying that in my mind. Oh, no. Let me let you go first, Dom, in case this may be your thought. What did you think the beacon was?
It has, for me, I feel like it has to tie in somewhat to Eternals or Celestials or something, because I remember in the movie saying, like, how did he get the ring? Some say he got it from an alien crash site, and the fact that they were talking about, we don't know where this came from. This is not vibranium is not anything I've ever seen, so it has to be something from outer space. And with I don't know when the timeline when Eternals is supposed to take place, but
it's before because Eternals, remember, takes place after that final snap of Stark.
Oh, that's right.
That initiates. Yeah, remember, it was all Eternals was supposed to come out before Shang-Chi.
But I think it still could be something signaling them or someone like them for whatever reason, because clearly, I mean, we don't know if it was doing any kind of radiating or signaling before when his pops had it, or if it just started when he got it. So, but I do think it's from outer space, though.
They said it didn't do it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're right, Trayvon. Go ahead.
Well, they said it didn't happen until he used it.
Oh, that's right.
It was when he did the Kamehameha.
Yeah. And they felt it. That's right.
Right. I think personally, if you're involving the Avengers, it can't be anything that's related to Shang-Chi specifically. I know a lot of us were hoping Fin Fang Foom.
Yeah.
Don't bring in the Avengers for Fin Fang Foom should just be a Shang-Chi villain for him to take.
Period. Yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, it should have been an Iron Man villain but that's a story. I think it's a long game. I think it's Galactus. I think trying to figure out what this beacon is what will lead them to the Fantastic Four, because this is multi-dimensional tech. And I think Reed could see it and go, I think I may know what this is. And then by that point, Silver Surfer comes down and goes, yo, somebody called my beeper. I got the call. What's up? And then boom, Galactus comes. So I think it's a long game. But if it's not, Eternals comes out in what, November? We'll find out soon enough. Indeed. If that is the case, if it's that. But I'm hoping it's Galactus because, like I said, even though it's a day I never want to get to, because once Galactus comes, I don't think there's anything else the MCU could do after that. There's just nothing else left.
Not as big, yeah.
There's just nothing else left after that. That's when I think when people are saying superhero fatigue, that's when it might start to kick in. When the MCU starts to run out of ideas, I think that's when it's just like,
which would be a pretty good ending. Every story has to have an ending, and if they can bow tie it with Galactus, and then wait some odd years, to then reboot things, then that's fine. But I'd have no problem if they wanted to end a little after Galactus. I just, the people who are like, oh, let's just end after Endgame. I'm like, no, there's like way too much to still like go into. And I saw all these people who are like, I'm not going to watch any Marvel movie after Endgame. That's it. That's the end. It's called Endgame. And it's like, no, that's the end of like that one story. Like we still haven't gotten to Fantastic Four, X-Men, Disney just got the rights back for that at that time and everything. And I was like, no. We have a lot. But if we get to Galactus, then I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, I think I want a
finale.
Yeah, we got to get to. I agree with you, Juwan. I mean, so much stuff in the middle, man. We got to get to the. I think for me personally, the Doctor Doom again and get it right.
Yeah.
We got to get to maybe not as on a bigger scale as some people would like to see, but if we're involved in the X-Men at some point, I do want to see Mr. Sinister. I definitely want to see him. And there's a few other people. I mean, what are they going to do, or are they going to bring in, an actual storyline with the Beyond? I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. But yeah, I agree with you as far as the big character that a lot of people know. Yeah, if we get to that point, then that's that might be signaling the fatigue factor.
Yeah, and I think Galactus should be 10 years away. There has to be 3 X-Men movies, 3 Fantastic Four movies. Shang-Chi should have had his 3rd movie, his 3 movies within there. All these characters that you're building up should have had their trilogies or however many movies you want to do. And then your Avengers movies, we're working into Secret Wars. You know what I'm saying? Mr. E saying here, Civil War 2 could happen. I'm going to just say this. Mr. E, if you want this, I'm not here to take this away from you, but I have no interest in seeing the Dark Phoenix saga ever again. Ever.
No.
Ever
again. One of the greatest stories ever, and they screwed it all the way around.
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing.
Twice.
The first time I thought, okay, cool. Then when they did it the second time, I'm like, all right, well, you clearly showed there's not much new that you can do with the story because you kind of just, at the end, you seemingly just regurgitated what the first one did. So I'm like, even if Feige does it right,
Cool.
I just don't need anything else from the Dark Phoenix. I just don't.
Yeah.
I
One
don't.
of the greatest stories in the history of comic books, and they screwed it. We don't get the proper Hellfire Club, none of that, man. But last thing I'm gonna say, Juwan, and I know I haven't said it on this particular iteration of what we're doing, but in a small part, can I just get a little bit of Omega Red, man? This is somewhat, just a little bit.
So that's
20 seconds on the screen. I mean,
Let me just say this. I don't want Wolverine to be in the first X-Men movie or the second X-Men movie. I want you to start off Wolverine with the Weapon X program. Have that be a series or its own movie, and then you can give me Deadpool. You can give me Omega Red. You can give me Sabretooth. You can give me Lady Deathstrike. You can go bananas on the characters that you could bring in. But to me, it's one of those things where it's just like he has to be separate because the world has to learn to respect Scott Summers. And the more you put Wolverine in, the more people go, I don't care about Scott. Give me more Wolverine. No, you need to respect the leader of the X-Men and then appreciate Wolverine as the guy that's the revolving door. He comes in, he goes out. He comes in, he goes out.
I'm with that.
But people need to start putting some respect on Scott Summers' name. Because that first trilogy, they killed him off and then was just like, oh well. What? Like, huh?
Still there.
You know, wait, would you say, Trayvon? I didn't hear you.
Storm was still there. That's all that matters.
But she can fly, I assume, right?
It does suck that it does. I'll say like one last thing before we wrap up and everything. It does suck that like looking back on it that we got James Marsden as Cyclops for such a short amount of time because I just think that he's amazing.
He was good.
He was underutilized. You know, you're in a movie with with Sir Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, and then an emerging Hugh Jackman at that time. And then, of course, Halle Berry is there. So it's just too many people that as you get down the line, you're just like, yeah, who? James Marsden?
Yeah, and I don't think that James Marsden was very established at that point. But I mean, for me, at least, maybe
he was good.
Like, at least because I grew up on those characters. To me, that's like the movie standard. I don't think of the guy. I don't even know who played him in the new X-Men movies, but I think of James Marsden when I think of Cyclops, just as people think of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
I think it's Ty something. Is it Ty Sheridan? I think it's Ty Sheridan. He's a pretty good actor.
Yeah,
I like Ty Sheridan. Who
was he in Ready Player One or is that?
Yes, he was. Yep.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yep. But all right, so look, we got a lot coming down the MCU pipeline. Me and Joel were just talking this last night. Not next year, but the year after, Marvel has 5 movies coming out in 1 year. We were debating on whether or not we think that November is the last month that a Marvel movie comes out in 2023. I really think they're gonna wrap up Phase 4 in 2023. With either Avengers or Fantastic Four, and then start Phase 5 with X-Men. Because to me, you can't leave Phase 4 without the Fantastic Four. It's like, come on, the marketing, it just speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing for this. The new Captain America movie has to come out in July. The marketing just speaks for itself. So it's like you just don't miss those easy alley-oops. But anyway. We got a lot more Marvel coming. When What If is over, we still have Hawkeye coming down the line. Tia can't wait. She's going to be the leading voice.
I'm going to really miss you guys for 6 weeks.
No, you're not doing that.
Tia will be there. Don't you guys worry. I had to go through 9 weeks of no Mephisto, and you forced me to come on that last episode. We'll be here for every Hawkeye episode. But no,
only to see Yelena smack Clint around a few times.
See, that's what you think, but shout out, just you wait
No,
till you see
no.
the new Hawkeye pop in and go, nobody.
No, Kate Bishop, I'm fine with. We're talking about Clint here, all right?
Yeah, but just know that
Around.
Clint's going to be passing on that name. So when you
Oh,
think
he's gonna be passing on.
well, remember that was the title that he passed on to Kate Bishop.
Yeah, he's gonna pass on to the next life.
He's gonna retire to his family. Yes.
Nah, man.
So there you go.
He's gonna be around.
Yeah, he's gonna be around. Look, his family has they have realized that he will never be a stay-at-home dad. It just will never happen. Freedom.
He's not going anywhere, man. You know he took the pimp particles one time and became Goliath. So they're just gonna reinvent it. That's true story.
But it's so
can't get free of this man.
The idea that he said I could be a father or an Avenger. I'm gonna go ahead and be an Avenger.
I know those poor children.
Freedom, and his kids is just like, why don't you love me, Dad?
Do I mean nothing to you?
why won't you love us? But anyway, so we got a lot more in store before the year is up. Miss Marvel likely will be pushed to next year.
I think so.
More than likely. So Hawkeye looks like probably the only one left that we'll have this year. But again, we'll still come here to review Eternals. We'll come here to review Spider-Man. And in between that, Venom, and then top of the year is Morbius. So we got a lot more in store for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned. I want to thank Trayvon, Jamie, Tia, Dom, and Prime for joining me on this all new episode. And I can't wait to see what next week's episode is. I really can't. I really can't. And shout out to you, Prime. Mr. E said Prime is wearing red, so Mephisto is confirmed. So.
It is. There it is.
Oh, it was Prime all along.
Prime all along.
The bag.
It was Prime all along. But all right. So we'll see you guys same time, same place next week. Till then.